Hi guys, it's Sunhouse. I guess and it was time to give you guys a movie review, which is basically called Fantastic Four: First Steps. This is basically a movie based on I think it's based on the original, based off the comic book series of Fantastic Four. And there's a lot of things I definitely want to discuss and stuff like that. And before I go ahead and discuss this, I have to say this movie was really incredible. It really was. And I think there's going to be some Easter eggs basically going to be in this and basically in this movie. But and there's some questions I really kind of question. I kind of question stuff like that. Now there will be spoilers based in this video. If you do not want any spoilers based in this video, I highly recommend that if you don't want to watch the video, or maybe that you do, it's up to you guys. But if you guys never seen the movie, I highly recommend it. That if you want to go see the movie, I think that you should. However, the movie is already out of theaters. I've already seen it based online. So like I said, for what is Fantastic Four First Steps movie all about? Well, Space is all about Space all about basically like a family, basically like like a normal, basically kind of like a family, kind of like a family, basically kind of like a movie, not like a family kind of movie, but basically like a normal, just normal, basic family, and basically in general, and basically really actually is and stuff like that. You have Reed, you also have the thing, Sue and Johnny also as well too. I think pretty much pretty much based on all their actors and stuff like that that played their roles did such a fantastic job. I was really surprised like how well the characters were basically interact with each other. I felt like the movie was on a good pace. Was It didn't feel like it was very rushed or very slow and or anything like that. It felt like it was a very good pace. I definitely think that it really was and stuff like that. I definitely do want to start out with Reed, which basically his name is Reed Richards, which basically he's pretty much basically I wouldn't say the main protagonist based in this movie. I don't think that he really actually is. I would just pretty much just say the Fantastic Four are pretty much are the main or pretty much are the main protagonists. But anyways, I want to get back with Reed. Reed is basically is a super genius kind of guy. He's very smart. He knows what he's talking about. Sometimes the man can be wrong. Sometimes he can be right. But there's some things that he cannot explain. But there's some things that he can explain, and there's some things that he just pretty much that he just really does not even know, because he doesn't really basically know basically the understandings with other different other different things that he probably can't even solve or he can solve, and basically stuff like that. Now I also want to talk about Sue Storm is pretty much I think that she pretty much got a lot of spotlight based on this movie. I definitely think that she really did. I think that she's pretty much the basically the main center and stuff like that, basically into the movie also well too. I forgot to mention, which I will mention, which I will mention basically a little bit later into this video, where they basically have a child, which his name is Franklin Richards. That is something I really want to talk about. Really want to talk about. But this is kind of really shocks me by surprise. Really, it actually is. So she's supposed to be having a baby, basically named Franklin Richards, who happens to be, I would say, basically in general, the most powerful being basically in all the entire of the universe. I would personally will definitely say, but I will get into that here in just a few minutes. Here in just a few minutes with his character and stuff like that. But basically with Sue, basically really actually, I definitely do like basically Sue basically as a character. I definitely do think that she's basically a very good female protagonist and stuff like that, based in this movie. And I definitely do think that she really basically sheds a light really based on this movie and stuff like that. What I like about her is just basically based off her is basically being a mother and stuff like that. That's something I really definitely do like about this movie, because it shows how much that she really cares, and how much she really does and stuff like that, because she's basically a very good dynamic based off a good character. When it comes to Richard, excuse me, when it comes to Reed Richard is kind of like a father figure also well too. He seems like he's kind of like a little bit more older, based of a kind of character, really actually is. But when you compare both of them two, they seem like they're basically a very good pair between each other, and I definitely do think that's a really great thing, and I really definitely do like that. Now, I also want to talk about Johnny, or I would say Johnny Blaze, or whatever that's his name is, or something like that. Johnny is a young guy. Is basically a young guy. He likes being around girls and stuff like that. But one thing I really am happy basis that where he's not really based all around girls and stuff like that or anything like that. I happen to like that really a lot because usually when you see the other movie of the Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba and some of the others or something like that, because usually you basically have Johnny who's just like, he's just basking in the glory, just like, being around girls and stuff like that, and just having a good time, just doing what he does and stuff like that, and stuff like that. It just shows how much of an ego based kind of a character that he really actually is when it comes basically of the latest Fantastic Four movie. The latest Fantastic Four movie, I do like it. The problem is that I think that they turn Johnny into more of an ego, basically kind of like a person. That's what it basically feels to me. But when I'm watching this movie, I really don't see Johnny really being much of that ego based kind of person. I really don't think he really actually is. I see him basically being more loving, caring uncle, and very easy on going and stuff like that. He does give some pretty good jokes and stuff like that, and he really does. I think that he's pretty much the character that really pretty much really surprised me really the most and stuff like that. But when you compare him to the other Johnny basically in the movie, like I said before, Jessica Alba, I definitely do think based on that one, I just think that he's just too much of an ego based kind of like a person. That's just my opinion. That's what I definitely do think. I kind of felt like that was very immature to me, basically the kind of character, the way that Johnny Lee actually is based in that movie. But when I've seen based in this movie, I see more mature of a nature, basically kind of like a person, basically kind of person really actually is. But sometimes he can be just a little bit, but he's not really based really all that much. But I definitely do like that really a lot, and I definitely do think they handle that character really a lot, and I definitely do think that's a very good thing. And seeing Johnny also getting emotional at the end of the episode, that's something I definitely will talk about also as well too, because I'm skipping at the episodes, the end of the movie, which is something that you really don't even see from a character from him just being like an egomaniac, basically kind of like a character that just wants to bask in the glory, just being around girls. But he seems like he's a more caring of a person, but not just only just based on that. He's a more caring, just being a uncle also as well too. Also as well too. Now I've also want to talk about the thing. The thing is basically his name is Ben. I don't know his last name or anything like that. Maybe somebody can tell me. Ben is basically as a character, based as a character, or I would say as the thing. Basically, actually is he doesn't get really rejected or anything like that, or basically get rejected based by the girls who he really basically loves. But when it comes to compared to the other movie that I was mentioning, the one problem that I have basically with that is basically feeling a rejection and stuff like that, because the way that he really actually is and stuff like that, because he's different, because he wanted to be with his wife, and his wife just kind of ran away from him because how different that he was. That's something I really didn't like really all that much and stuff like that, because I felt like that was kind of wrong in my own general. I felt that that was kind of discriminating, basically, kind of a person who's different, like let's say you're black or you're white or Hispanic or anything like that. Sometimes people do have that kind of different kind of moments and stuff like that. Discrimination. That's how I feel. I know some people will disagree me with that, but that's just what it feels to me. I kind of feel that's a discrimination based kind of like a moment because I felt like she didn't want to be with Ben because he looks like bit kind of like a rocky kind of like a guy, that's what he really actually is and stuff like that. I don't think I personally want to say here you shouldn't judge a book by his character because you should. I think the woman basically in the previous movie, the Fantastic Four movie, I think it felt like a rejection, and she's gonna have to face consequences basically in the future, and basically, and that's gonna reflect on her, and really and stuff like that. And I think that's really is wrong. And one thing I've liked about the original, excuse me, not the original Fantastic Four, but the other of the Fantastic Four. One thing I like about that film is basically is the blind girl. I don't know who she is or anything like that. She's black, she's blind, and stuff like that. And one thing I like about her is basically that she's more basically accepting of the thing. And that's something I really definitely do like. But when I see kind of a discrimination, basically kind of like a moment like where he's married to his wife, I feel that that is wrong. I don't think they shouldn't do that based in the movie. But maybe that was just basically kind of like a redemption, basically in the movie where Jessica out and stuff like that. That's what I definitely do think. Basically, definitely do think. Now, I also want to talk about the Silver Surfer. Now, to be honest with you, I am very impressed with the Silver Surfer because usually, basically in the original movie, all the Fantastic Four, you see the Silver Surfer, who is just basically like a male, basic kind of character. But to be honest with you, I happen to like the female, basic kind of a character of a Fantastic Four, based in this movie. I definitely do think it's a very good change. I definitely do think it's very good. I definitely do like the sex appeal basically in this movie and stuff like that. And you basically get to see what she really actually was. She has like blonde hair. She's looks kind of normal, and then basically she has her boss, or basically like Galactus. That's the next one I definitely want to talk about because Galactus is basically the main villain based in this anime. I mean, excuse me, not anime movie. Excuse me, movie. He's pretty much the main villain based in this movie, and pretty much basically Galactus is pretty much a big old giant kaiju, kind of like Godzilla or King Kong, kind of like situation. Now, some people will probably say that's they probably imagine him being way too big or something like that. Um, I don't see there's nothing wrong with it. I don't see there really actually is. Because I mean, to be honest with you, I can't really remember what cartoon I used to watch. I think there was a cartoon called Fantastic Four. I think it was on Cartoon Network. Forgive me if I don't remember. I think it was. I'm not so sure. I think I've seen it a couple of times before. I don't know because I remember there was like Birdman, Superman. They also have Batman also too, and especially Kids WB and stuff like that. If you guys know what I'm talking about, stuff like that. Very a lot of controversy with that and basically stuff like that. But anyways, I think I've seen Galactus in some of the comic books also well too. I'm not really 100% sure because all I do know he has like a big old helm and he has like kind of like antlers like that, kind of like that. You know what I'm talking about. Um, I his color looks kind of dark to me. I It kind of really does. I would hope that he would basically be more purple instead of just kind of like black, basically in a kind of based on situation. That's my opinion. That's what I definitely did think. I don't think there's nothing wrong with his character. I definitely do think he's a very good character to me. In the movie, I definitely do think it really was. Now let's talk about the big situation I have. Basically, in this movie is Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards is the baby basically in this movie. However, I would personally definitely say he becomes a god complex. I'm not lying. A god complex. Kind of similar to, how should I put this? Like to Superman or basically like Goku or other different different peons and stuff like that. Basically in the Marvel universe. I'm really kind of curious how powerful he really actually is, because if he's really is so powerful, like a god complex. I mean, he could pretty much. I mean, he could pretty much be one of the most powerful Marvel superheroes, pretty much of all time. Pretty much. I guess I'll be right. I guess I'll be wrong. I mean, there's no telling and stuff like that. But I'm also kind of curious about like what happens to like Wolverine versus Franklin. Could that possibly probably could happen? I really don't even know. I really don't know because I'm like Wolverine can regenerate his powers like really quick. I mean, it would take a lot for it take a lot just to kill Wolverine. It really has. I think there's a comic book based on Wolverine versus the Hulk or something like that. I think so. I'm not so sure. I'm not. I'm really not 100% so sure. 100% so sure. I mean, that's another good example. Like, what happens Franklin versus a Hulk? I mean, there's no telling from that. So and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of comparisons that you basically would see, and you just basically will definitely think. I kind of would definitely will say here. I don't know if this is confirmed or not. I don't know or 100% or not. But I have a feeling that the baby of Franklin probably killed the mother. Probably did. I'm not so sure because if you look closely, based at the movie, based at the close of the ending, based at the movie where Franklin he puts his hands on her chest, puts his hands on her chest. You know, even though that he's just still a baby. But anyways, um, the baby didn't really panic or anything like that. It felt to me that the baby was trying to concentrate, or basically the baby was trying to do something, but I couldn't really understand what was going on because I was thinking that maybe that the baby was trying to heal the mother back to life, or maybe that really based that did happen, or maybe it didn't happen. I don't know. I don't know. Now we don't know what kind of powers Franklin really has. Now we really do not know. I mean, as far as am I concerned, I would find it kind of absurd to me if someone were to basically give a birth to a child that has infinite power beyond the universe. I mean, talk about everything that causes space in general. There's going to be a lot of people. A lot of people are going to want to know who this child really actually is. Especially, Galactus for himself. He wanted this child. He said, "This is my salvation. This is what I really definitely want. This is what I definitely want." Now, I want to go back to Galactus. Now, Galactus basically, I think he said that he was once human once before. However, I'm not 100% so sure if that's really basically true or basic or not. I'm not so sure. Now, all I do know, I definitely do think there is going to be another Fantastic Four movie because I definitely do think, excuse me, I definitely think there is going to be another movie of Fantastic Four. I'm really kind of curious if Franklin is going to grow up a little bit more better, and I'm really kind of wondering like what kind of premises that he's really definitely going to have, and what kind of powers that he's really definitely going to have as well too, because that's what I'm curious to know. I don't know what kind of God complex are we really dealing with based with Franklin here, based with him. I could be right. I could be wrong. There's could be a lot of different things. What kind of conflicts that Franklin really could have. So we'll just have to wait and see where they actually going to go. I happen to like the movie. I definitely was definitely a thing. I give it a 10 out of 10. I think it was a beautiful movie. It was really actually was. I think it was a perfect movie to me in my own eyes. I like the style based of the movie. I think the movie was kind of pretty simple to make, and it's also CGI based in the movie. When I'm watching this movie, I feel like I'm watching a movie with my family. That's what it kind of feels to me, and it feels like it's kind of like a generous, basically kind of like a movie. Basically, kind of feels to me. It feels like it's like a offering basically given to me. That's what it kind of basically feels to me, and I feel kind of generous and thankful for this movie because one thing I was really happy the most, there was not really a whole lot of cussing based on this movie, and I love that really, really, really a lot, and I really, really do. That's really such a good thing, and I definitely do think this is a movie that I definitely do think a lot of people would probably basically be turned off because a lot of people would probably say it's just a soft corn basically kind of like a movie, basically kind of like a movie. I don't think so. I think they live in it really pretty much based on the action packed based in the movie. I definitely do think that they really definitely did. Personally, in my opinion, I know some people will disagree with me, and some people probably get upset with me for this. I definitely do think this movie was a lot more better, 10 times a lot more better than the Superman movie I've seen because I have many complaints with the Superman movie because I just didn't think that the Superman movie just didn't live up to the hype as the actor of Christopher Reeve. I definitely think that Christopher Reeve was basically a better actor being Superman. That's my opinion. That's what I definitely think. I don't want people to really think that I hate the Superman movie. That's just my opinion. That's what I definitely think. I just definitely think that there's hit and misses and stuff like that based with the movie and stuff like that. The movie is okay. It's not really over that exciting or anything like that. That's just my opinion. That's what I definitely do think. Like I said, I don't hate the movie basically in general, but the movie it is good, but it's not great, but it's not the best. But to be honest with you, I prefer the Fantastic Four movie a lot more better than the Superman movie, basically in general, basically to me, because that's just how I feel basically when it comes from me from watching this movie. Some people will disagree with me on this. Some people will agree with me, and some people will probably hate me just for saying that and stuff like that. And I understand. I'm not gonna argue with anybody because like they say that it's better than Fast Times at Four or something like that. I'm not gonna argue with that stuff like that. So yeah. Anyways, that's it for this movie review. Tell me what you guys think. Do you guys like this movie? What you guys' premises based movie? How would you rate this movie? Do you guys think this movie's a lot better than the Superman movie, or do you prefer the Superman movie better than the Fantastic Four? Or what is your guys' thoughts and opinions based off this film? Could this film can basically get some Oscars awards or Grammy or whatever it is or something like that, or do you think that it probably will happen? I definitely do think this movie will be a lot of huge impact. So yeah, it was a Sunday Night. I'll see you guys there. Take care. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe. Please consider subscribing. Please like them, give me a thumbs up or give me a thumbs down, and please leave a comment below. Anyways, I'll see you guys there. Take care, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.